Morning everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Jan Kilstra and I'm a dairy farmer from Saskatchewan, Canada. On our family dairy farm here, we milk about 300 cows. This morning, I'm just heading over to the back of our straw pack barn and I'm gonna grab a calf that I seen laying in the alley there. He's not on the straw pack, so we're gonna grab him right away and get him to his calf pen. But looks like it's almost trying to rain a little bit, which is awesome. It's been depressingly dry out here so far. I do know we have had almost 3/4 of an inch of rain, so 18 to 20 mils roughly. And I talked to some guys that actually had 0 this year, and they're borderline ripping out the crops that they planted this spring. So it is pretty severe out here at this point, but it is what it is. That winter rye field that we have is still looking not too bad. Starting to head out though, so we might be silaging that pretty soon in the next couple of weeks. I'm gonna open up this overhead door and grab that calf. Looks like we actually got 2 calves this morning. Let's go find out if it's a twin or not. So I'm gonna assume 61 calved this calf right there. And then there's another bugger on the alley here. What we do when we come to the straw pack like this and there's 2 calves, first thing we're gonna do always is check all the cows and see who calved. If there's 2 that calved, then we know it's not twins. But if it only looks like 1 that calved, then we go to the computer. When we vet check and preg check all the cows, they will tell us if there's twins in there. We'll write it in the computer, then we know for sure. But the good old fashioned way is just to check all the rear ends of the cows to see who calved. And it looks like only the lady at the back there calved. That is a heifer bull twin. They look pretty similar. Gonna do a quick update on the progress of the new feed mill. In the last video I showed you guys we moved a bin over so we could dig a hole for a pit in the ground. And the hole's dug and you guys can see there's a lot of concrete down there already. So they poured the floor last week. This week, a couple days ago, they poured the walls. And now they're working on framing the top. This is, like I said, a pit for whey permeate. That's a byproduct from the cheese plant here in Saskatoon. So we send them our milk, and then they have a byproduct, a bunch of excess liquid that actually still has quite a bit of feed value. And we've been feeding that to our cows for a bit now. And we're committing to that by building this pit. And yeah, just expanding storage. Our current setup is pretty small. And this is gonna allow us for a couple trucks. And there's gonna be bins on top of it, so it's gonna create another nice concrete pad for some mineral bins that are gonna line up with those bins over there. So pretty sweet. It's 10 feet deep by 30 by 10. So it's gonna hold a lot of liquid. We dug this hole ourselves with the case wheel loader. So yeah, the main loading spot for the feed wagon is going to be in between here. Drive through. We measured, it should line up perfectly if all things go good. The guy that's going to build that grain leg and set it up is going to be here this weekend. I think they're going to start Monday. We've had a lot more equipment show up to the farm last week, so I'll show you guys that as well. So all of the equipment you see in front of us here, that is going to be the small grain leg that's going to come off of our hammer mill. These big pipes are going to come off of the big grain leg. Small pipes are going to come off the small one. But yeah, this red, nice red color grain leg, that's going to look sweet. And then just the rest of the equipment. The distributor for the big grain leg and the small one showed up yesterday as well. So this thing is, it's actually pretty big. I think these are 10-inch wide. It's gonna move a lot of grain, and this is actually a pretty big unit, and it's gonna be 70 feet all the way up in the air, so that's pretty cool. There's a bunch of buckets for the bigger grain leg here, and then that's the distributor for the small grain leg. Pretty big size difference there. And the other really cool thing that showed up to the farm a couple days ago is this thing right here. This is gonna be what unloads the trucks, the B trains, into the large grain leg. It's just a conveyor. But the cool thing about this conveyor is it's telescopic, so it'll expand. You can see the excess conveyor is kind of doubled up underneath. And then as it's gonna slide out, this excess conveyor is gonna slide into the rest of it, and basically, yeah, it's gonna be expandable, so to be able to drive underneath a truck and then back out again to allow the truck to drive forward. It's definitely cheaper than doing a pit with a ramp, and this is basically the cheaper alternative that we went with. You'll see a big pit at some guys' setups, and we really considered it because it's nice. You can dump like however big you build that pit, maybe 500, maybe 1,000 bushels into that pit instantly, and you can run your system to unload that pit, and the truck can be empty and gone, and you're still loading it into your bins, which is nice, but it's just a lot more expensive, a lot more construction involved. So that conveyor, it's gonna be, the dump part is gonna be here. It's gonna be able to move back and forth, and then it'll suck back into the thinner part of the pad here. Trucks will drive past, and then it'll load it up into the main grain leg, send it up into the bins. We'll continue to check that out as it's being built. I always like seeing the progress of a build, checking it out every day. I remember when these barns were being built, I was out here every single day looking at every little bit of progress they made. And yeah, it's just a fun process to watch. A couple of videos ago, I tore this fence out in between the two corrals, and the last video actually we put a new railway tie in. So now I'm finally going to start putting this thing back together. We got some of the longer 2x6s, and we're going to start putting them on the railway ties here, and then after that we're going to grab the other lumber and start hammering it on there. So off to not the best start in the world. We grabbed 3 boards and 2 of them looked rotten, so we put the one on, it just kind of snapped. You can see it's all in pieces here, and the other one didn't take much to snap in half either. So those were from an old pile when we built the corrals the first time, like 10 years ago. So I guess those boards are rotten now, unfortunately, but we do have another pile from when we built the newer corrals. We'll pick from there. So we'll be right back to this with some newer boards. Awesome, well, we got those rough cut 2x6s on there, looking pretty good. And then another day we'll finish it off with those uprights for the windbreaks. Morning, it's the next day, and we are gonna be taking a room of calves out of our individual pen barn and bringing them to our group pen barn, which is right here. All we gotta do before we do that though is shuffle these groups down, and that'll make room for the new calves. The individual pen barn is right beside our group pen barn, right here, except for taking a room out that's on the other side of the barn. We got the calf mover on the New Holland wheel loader, just hooked up with the quick attach, And this is actually our old silage blades. We used to use the back part here for pushing silage. There was a bunch of forks out the front underneath, but we never really used it for packing silage because it was too light. It didn't have the weight on the front tires, and the loader would just kind of slip on the silage pile. So a couple of years went by, we never really used it. We used it to push snow a little bit, but still didn't get much use out of it. So we figured we'd convert it over to the calf mover, and now we got this pretty cool tool that we can load full of calves and move a room out with. So that's what we've always been using since we got into the new calf barn. We just grouped calves together. They were in 3 groups, so groups of 4, but now they're 12 in a group, and they're jumping all over the place, acting a little crazy, which is pretty usual. Just waiting for Dad to pull up here with the wheel loader. It's now the afternoon, and we're gonna milk some cows. Milking with Neline this afternoon, but probably actually I'm not gonna do that much milking because I'm putting sand in the beds, and since people have been running into concrete walls all over the barn, the second speed, the high speed gear got taken out of that skid steer. So it takes a lot longer to throw sand now. I did it yesterday afternoon as well, and it took me over an hour to do 1 group. But I guess that's the consequence of breaking stuff and the way she's gonna go. You really should just quit running into walls and stuff, Neline. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, I'm not the one that doesn't look backwards in driving.
Well, we're gonna go grab the cows, clean the groups, and start throwing sand. Sand's in the beds, took about an hour again, but it's the way she goes. We're gonna let the ladies back in their group now. Well, we finished milking up there. Again, I didn't hang a single milker. It's just taking so long putting sand in the bedding. But that's the side effect, I guess, of smashing stuff in the barn. My fault. But also we had a cow try to go through a man pass, which was kind of interesting. She didn't get through all the way. She actually walked out of there unscathed though, and back into the barn somehow. That was also crazy, but yeah, we got milking done. Little interesting shift, but that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.